yeah.
I am running a 3600X an AMD CPU. It works fine. I'm just There is a reason I recommend this to everyone. Don't buy the newest generation. Always, I know in this case it's kind of hard because it's the 13th and it's both generations that are a problem, but I usually buy the generation behind. Usually, problems get ironed out before you buy one then. Usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And AMD users were relatively lucky. I had a first generation Ryzen. It wasn't too bad. Like we had memory training issues, but that's about it. And they got solved with BIOS updates. But yeah, I'm looking at the issues with Intel 13 engine, 14 gen right now, and I'm like, oof. I wouldn't want an Intel CPU right now. I wouldn't be happy.
What are you currently running?
7950X. So I upgraded from had the Ryzen 7. I forget which one it was, but it was right when they came out. And then I upgraded to AM5 last year, I think. Yeah, it's been a while. I think it's been a year.
I probably should upgrade my system at some point.
So far, it's been good. I have a 5-year rotation where I have my main system, and then I shift my main system to my network attached storage enclosure. So it lives on another 5 years.
Right. No, that's actually a good way to do it. If you're gonna have a second system anyway, like assuming the hardware's fine and you don't have a weird Intel situation right now, usually it's gonna be good. Like maybe drives become an issue, but it's for a NAS anyway, so you got drives for that you probably rotate out as need to be rotated out. But usually everything else is gonna be pretty good. Assuming you're not doing anything like overclocking and burning things out.
No, and it's been running fine. Like it's running my GitLab instance and stuff like that. So it's been fine. GitLab and build agents and my home automation stuff, which I self-host using Home Assistant because no Internet of Things. No, thank you.
Not a fan of that.
Have everything. Not a fan of that, especially not the newer stuff where it requires an online service that might disappear if the company goes under. Nah. Buy an open protocol like Zigbee or now was it Threads, I think is the new one. Buy one of those and then use your own radios. It's so much simpler. It's more complicated to set up, but then you don't like it. Once it's done, it's so much simpler to maintain.
I have never really looked into the home automation stuff. I've had a couple of people come on who are like, "Oh, I like doing all of this stuff. Like if I run this command, all of the lights in my office turn on." And it's like I set this all up like with open source stuff, and it's cool, right? Like I think it's really cool. But it's just something I've never personally decided to sit down and like actually explore and find out. Like, okay, I need to buy this. Okay, this works with this. Okay, this software supports this. And I'm sure I could work it out just fine. It's just, there's only so many things that you can really focus on. And I get it. If it's like a fun little hobby and that's what you want to do, like, that's cool. Like, more power to you.
And that's exactly how it started. I saw Home Assistant, like, oh, that looks nice. I'll try with one light, and then it spiraled out of control. You start with one thing and then, oh, well, I'm going to add something else. And 10 years down the line, here you are.
Actually, I do have one fun thing that I recently bought. Let me just grab that. Do you know what this is?
I don't know what that is.
It is
is that one of the original Chrome? Is that one of the Google Chromebooks?
This is a Ivy Bridge Chromebook.
Nice.
So, I have been convinced by a couple of people that old Chromebooks are actually really good devices. I've got this one here that I bought and someone had already unlocked it and it's running Ubuntu, but it's running Ubuntu with a macOS theme. I don't know. I'm going to do a video on what it's just running out of the box. I bought it because I just want to see like what modern desktops are going to do on that thing. Because there's people in my audience who are like, I use an Ivy Bridge CPU. I use a Haswell CPU. I want to see like how well does GNOME run on this thing? How well is Cosmic going to run on this thing? How well is KDE going to run on this thing? I also have another one that I'm buying that's not unlocked already. A 11th gen i5 system. With those ones, so Google doesn't care at all about you unlocking a Chromebook. Like, there's documentation on the Chromium docs on how to do it. For anyone who doesn't know, there is this cable called a SUSY Q cable that you can make. The schematics are all open source. And you just plug it into like both USB-C ports, and you could just unlock the firmware. And there's a script that you can run that a bunch of people, because there is like this weird little community around it as well. And you just flash it with core boot and then just stick Linux on it. Some people are turning them into Hackintoshes, which I think is kind of wild. But you can get a really, really cheap, really powerful system if you look a little bit with the Chromebooks, because most people just throw them out, and you can get like, one of the ones I saw was it was 16 gigs of RAM, 11th gen i5, 256 gig storage for like $150.
That's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. Then you can just, unlock it, install Linux, and then you have a nice little cheap on-the-road machine if you want to like go camping and you don't really care about your computer. Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, it's a good road warrior setup.
Some of them have there's a couple of node issues with some devices. Like, oftentimes the fingerprint reader doesn't work, which is fine. Sometimes there's a systemd service you need to run to get USB, the like modern USB standards running. The biggest problem is some of them you have to make sure you're running you have to run like a little script to fix up the audio drivers, because they don't power limit on some of them. So
oops.
you can blow the speakers very easily.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, it would be. But it's really easy to go through. It's like in total like 15 commands you have to run, and you have a core booted Chromebook. Like, it's compared to some, like, a lot of people like to buy these old ThinkPads. Flashing some of those can be a giant nightmare. Like, if you just want to stick Linux on it, it's fine. But getting them core booted can be a bit rough.